Everybody. I've noticed that I get cut off at the beginning, so I'm taking a little more time at the beginning and then I'll trim this off later. Hello, it's Friday. I try to get these done on Thursday, but it was my nephew's college graduation yesterday. So, Paul Gutricht, I'm a therapist in West Los Angeles, California, focusing on high conflict, improving relationship communication, and what I call angry behavior management because it's the emotion of anger is okay. It is the behavior that we're trying to deal with. But angry behavior management has never caught on. It's just too clunky. So be it. So today, what I want to talk about briefly is action as the antidote to how do I not feel guilty about a situation, right? So this is interesting. There was a conversation at one point with someone who did not want to feel guilty in a certain situation, and the issue here is, there's a small tiny percentage in single digits of guilt that is functional, that like, we did something we regret, that was out of line, and it moves us towards better behavior. Then the rest of it gets toxic pretty quickly. Okay. But sometimes something will happen and I'll have a feeling of guilt even if I'm don't think I did anything wrong, like actually, and the other person isn't necessarily saying that I did something wrong. This is kind of like a feeling of guilt that's related to old history. Okay, so that's just an interesting distinction to think about. Like, did, what's my part in this, or is this old stuff coming up? That's what I'm getting at. Okay, it's something worth looking at. But then for me, the question is always, how do I get to a positive version? When there's something I don't want to be doing, what is the thing that I'm going to do? Okay, and this comes up in a lot of ways. I had a client 100 years ago who said, well, I'm just going to go to a bar and not drink. It's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Right? That's one way to be thinking about this. But so back to, how do I not feel guilty? Right? Okay, well, how do I generate a different kind of feeling? Right? What is the opposite of not feeling guilty? Right? It's not feeling innocent. Right? So what is it exactly? I'm not sure, and that's not the point here. But what I want to get to is, how do I get off this feeling of guilt? Like, if I'm feeling guilty, first of all, what's my part in the situation? Is there something for me to do differently, or an apology to give? See other clips on good apologies. Then maybe that's the action I need to take. But in addition, if I'm guilty about a pattern of behavior, I feel guilt about a pattern of behavior or some such thing like that, or how I'm showing up in the world in a certain way, the way I'm going to shift that emotional experience is through action. So it's less about how do I not feel guilty. It's like, well, what do I want to go do now? So it comes down to action. Okay. And look, we all heard of the image of a workaholic. All right. It is easy to get lost in busy work, or to get lost in extremely important work, and cut yourself off from your emotions, cut yourself off from relationships, cut yourself off from showing up for other people. So action it's another one of these incredibly powerful tools that, if you're not careful, can be dangerous, like a power tool, right? If you don't know how to use it, it can be dangerous. So we still have to give thought to the kind of action we're going to do, how we're going to kind of keep it in relationship to whatever's going on. But what I do want to get to is, if you give yourself those thoughts, you take some time, then you're going to be able to take action in a way that gets you off of that guilt feeling and gets you into whatever that positive opposite of guilt is. Okay? And I'll leave that up to you, what you think. it might be. Okay, thanks, and I will see you next week.